All right. As you can see, we got many answers to the opinion poll, which is exactly what I expected. Is that everybody has their own opinion, and a few of them are the same with slight variations, but everybody pretty much came from, like I said, that instinctive, reptilian, reactive first answer, and then the thinking about it, the second answer. Some of you, it was the same, but I don't think any of you actually thought out what I was saying to you, especially based on the laws of alchemy, the law of equivalent exchange. To give something, to get something, you must give something. And a lot of your answers really explain to me where we are as a collective, and that we do not understand alchemy, what this place is, and we all still have a lot of prejudices that need to be dumped, things we're hanging on to, belief systems that aren't necessarily true. You do not understand this magical place that we live in. Everything is alive. I'm going to say it one more time. There is no difference between me and the tree. The same life force that is in the tree is in me. When you talk about everybody needs to be vegan, you're still eating that same life force. It's the life force within the thing. Everything on this planet eats itself. This planet eats itself. It is recycling that same energy and remanifest it into something new. Even the demiurge. The demiurge is the collective subconscious of us all. That's what the demiurge is. It is within each of us, and it knows not itself. That's why alchemy is about know thyself. It is not about the left-hand path or the right-hand path. It's the bringing the two together or denying both and going straight up the middle. Let me explain why this is so important. Over the past week of being very sick, I have a lot of time to think, and I needed to rest, and I got very little rest because I had a heavy burden. Every time I've laid down and tried to go to sleep, these same images have been coming through my mind, and it's about manifestation. To manifest, we must come together as a collective. Where two or more are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst. And as you can see, we're very divided on what we think should happen here. The one thing that we should change that would make it all better for humanity, for this planet as a whole, for the planet herself, or its self, because it has both masculine, the feminine aspect of this world is it takes, like we eat food, then we shit. That shit becomes fertilizer down into the ground. That destruction, that male aspect. Sorry about that. I had to pause. I picked me up some raw cinnamon today, and it is breaking all that stuff up in my lungs, and it's finally coming. But as I was saying, you have a masculine and a feminine aspect to nature. The masculine aspect is the destruction. The tree dies. It goes into the ground. We eat stuff. We poop it back into the ground. That same element becomes the fertilizer for the next feminine aspect to yield back up the next round of creation. Just like in your gardens. In astrology, Saturn rules agriculture. That's why this Jesus character was constantly talking about reaping and sowing, the planting of seeds. It is all the same. My understanding of evil on this planet is that it's in shadow and it simply is afraid of the light. It knows not itself, and the thing that it fears is its own self. It is you have two collective consciousness, the awake or aware collective consciousness, and then the collective unconscious or subconscious that we are not aware of. It is our subconscious that is the demiurge to start with. It knows not itself. And that exists in every one of us. Currently, alchemically and astrologically, you have Saturn in the house of ideologies in Sagittarius, with Pluto, who's representing the subconscious. In 2020, when Saturn and Jupiter meet, when they meet, it always sets the stage for the next 20 years. So we're going to manifest what's in our subconscious because Pluto will be there. Now, while Saturn is in the house of ideologies with Pluto, is the time to clean that up, to know thyself. You are on the forbidden planet. We have all been manifesting the monsters of the id, the monsters of the subconscious that we know not. It's our own creation. It is not what is being done to us. It is actually what we are doing to ourselves. We are just being allowed to do that and maybe urged on a bit. But it is a necessary cycle. Now, I do see what has been done to this planet and to humanity as a whole, to what is so-called enslave us, because we know not. In the old wisdom mystery schools, before I even say that, let me talk about mystery schools, because a lot of you, I get comments all the time. You're teaching Freemasonry and they're part of the problem. No, they're not. Freemasonry, like everything else on this planet, was hijacked. And I think we know who did that. I'm not even going to go into that. But they were all infiltrated from within, and everybody in that system was compromised. And they're weak-backed people who are not willing to play the Jesus role and sacrifice themselves for the greater good. They'll sell out every time. That's why mystery schools women were forbidden. Because a woman, especially a woman that has a child, she's not going to sell out. She might to protect her child, but instinctively she won't. But men will. They are much more easily compromised, especially when they're young. They're brought in young, not knowing. They're virile. They're ambitious, but they have very little knowledge of anything at all. We're not taught anything on this planet. Let me show you what they've done. And it goes all the way back to the 13 colonies of what this place was founded on. Here it's join or die, okay? The 9 principles and the 12 values. And they broke it down into what we know as the 13 colonies. This is the Ouroboros broken up. When you talk about the Ouroboros, you're talking about nature itself. The head eats the tail. I'll do a video on that next. But our knowledge system was fragmented, and that's why we go to school 12 years. When it's all one thing. We're not told that the different subjects we take are related to the other subjects, and they're really all one. There is no division. It was divided, just like the tongues in Babylon. The knowledge was divided. That way, everybody only had a piece of the knowledge. See how 1 is 12? There is no 13. The head is the tail. They keep trying to give you that 13th sign. It ain't going to happen. Aquarius was the first sign. Aquarius is the 12th sign. It is the first and the last. And your 9 principles here are your 9 planets. And some of them are chakras, and others of them are above that, like in the demiurge subconscious, Pluto. Back to manifestation. Manifestation, an event, action, or object that clearly shows or embodies something, especially a theory or an abstract idea. The action or fact of showing an abstract idea. A symptom or a sign of an ailment. That one's going to manifest here in a minute. A version of incarnation or of something or someone. An appearance of a ghost or spirit. We have many different uses, whether they be the adjective, the verb, or the noun, what part of speech they are. Now, just as all of this information was fragmented into different sections, so that everybody only gets a piece and nobody can see the whole, this was planned before this country was founded. Divide and conquer. And what they did is they fragmented our mind. A fragmented mind cannot live in unity. And that's what's going on with us. Our minds, and especially our subconscious minds, have been fragmented. And we know not ourselves. You know not that within you is the demiurge that is destroying this planet and humanity. It comes from within us. The powers that be are manipulating us, and they know this. And they're ramping up for 2020. Every 20 years, like frickin' clockwork, when Saturn and Jupiter meet, either right before they meet or right after they meet. Actually, it starts before. It may not manifest till afterwards, but they set the ball rolling before to get us ready for what we are calling false flag events that will keep us in the lower chakras manifesting the demiurge on this planet. Because we act and react. When you talk about the serpent and that demiurge, we're not doing it consciously, but we do it by emotional reaction. And that includes hate. A lot of the comments here clearly showed me what is in everybody's subconscious, what it is they do not understand. And I think very, very few, maybe 2 out of all this, actually thought it out and took into account, 1, the law of equivalent exchange, and 2, really understood it. It's what I've been telling you all along. We have to pull ourselves together, 1, individually, and then 2, collectively. I wanted to manifest. This whole week I thought, I need to get this computer up and going better, take off some programs, rearrange some shit to use what RAM I've got, run a live stream, and let's get together as a collective and manifest. But after I seen these answers, I realized, no, we can't do that yet. Not with this collective, because nobody's done their homework. Nobody is cleaning out their ideologies in their subconscious. Nobody's letting go of the hate. It is all still harbored within you, and you understand it not. I don't mean to be harsh. I'm just being honest. I actually understand this stuff. I actually get it. When you open that third eye, and you start looking at the world, not from the left-hand path, not from the right-hand path, but you're looking it straight in the eye for the good, the bad, the destructive, the creative, and understand that it is only one force. There's only one source. And everything that is alive, even the stones themselves, embodies this force. So it shows me how little we know when we're still arguing about things like being a vegan. Several of you mentioned that. So You don't understand. You don't understand. Because what sustains our bodies is this light force. And we look for it in others. The true source is within yourself. When the great master, was it Pythagoras? It might have been Pythagoras, when he wanted to explain to a new class of students. When he came in, he would shit in a pot and he would put it on the table and he would tell them, that's everything. That's everything you need to know is your own shit. And they thought he was crazy. But truly, that is exactly what we need to do. You need to drink from your own well. I'm having to learn, being isolated here, that I can't go to other people for to replenish myself. It's supposed to be give and take. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. But when I'm emotionally just drained to where I don't have anything left to give, I have to find a source. I'm used to being in the South in nature, to where I could just go outside in the grass and the trees and the flowers and the birds. But when you're in the desert, that's not true. It's a dry place, and there's very little resource. You have the sun, which can only provide one part of that energy when we need the whole. So I have to learn to go within and drink from my own well. Some people in the profane, it's looked at as, they'll call it urine therapy, drink from your own well. When the truth is, you drink from the well of milk and honey in your pineal gland. We need no one to teach us. We already have the answers within ourselves. We are lying to ourselves. We're hiding from ourselves. We're the scared demiurge that's afraid of the light. We're the ones with the fragmented minds. Only one here actually alluded to the same answer that I would have given, and I've told you that before. If I could give humanity one thing, it would be the ability to remember. And now, I understand we are a species of amnesia because we were traumatized and we were fragmented. And this collective conscience knows not itself. This, what we're seeing manifest on YouTube as the collective conscience is still not aware that its subconscious is fragmented. They can't even be in unity with themselves. How can they be in unity as a collective? Are you seeing what I'm telling you? When take what we've learned about some of the MK Ultra programs, what do? They fragment the mind so that a different personality can come forth, one that they can control. Because a mind that is whole, that cannot be fragmented, cannot be controlled. A mind that is in unity with itself cannot be controlled. It drinks from its own source. It goes within for its answers. It doesn't need to look for them in the world around it. This is where we need to come as a species. I still want to manifest, but I also understand the law of equivalent exchange, and a lot of the answers that were given over here came from a place of negativity, which I did. I asked you, what would you do to change? Well, to answer that question, you must focus on the worst of the worst. You want to remove the worst of the worst. There's only two things that humanity needs. One, know thyself, which again would fall in the same category of remember yourself. Remember you. Do you know? I remember when I came into this body, one of the first things that occurred to me was, oh my goodness, we've all come into these bodies and they don't know who they are. Do you not know who you are? I would say to them, If you knew who you were, or you knew who I was, you would not treat me the way you do. You know not yourself. Everybody still classified the world into good and evil. And they are neither. They are neither good nor evil. That is a construct of a fragmented mind. We don't understand it, but we're going to. I'm going to talk about that in the next video. When you do your shadow work, you're facing your demons. Yours, not the world's, yours. Why are you fragmented? Why are you not in unity? Why are you divided? You've got to pull yourself together before we can have a collective that's pulled together. And the collective is not going to get shit done because they're all reacting from the subconscious fragmented collective mind to manifest nightmare after nightmare, destruction after destruction. The thing you focus on is the thing you manifest. That's why I tell you, it's not what goes into a man's mouth that defiles him, it's what comes out. What comes out of a man's mouth is what he's put into his mind. They're not going to withhold anything from you. The good, the bad, or the ugly. The fact is, we need to see it all. We were such a protected species. The church protected us. They really did. They kept us dumbed down. We look at that as an evil thing. But let me tell you, when you got to face your own demons and you have to wake up to your own truths, a lot of people end up in insane asylums when they do this. They're not ready for it. They're not ready to realize they house the very demiurge that they hate. Did you hear what I just said? It drives people insane. That's why our mental institutions are full. They know that collectively we are waking up to this and that we're falling apart. We're falling to pieces. We can't deal with it. We don't know how. We've not been taught. We've not been taught to deal with this. Do you not understand what I'm telling you? You can't heal the world without healing yourself first. And you must do that by facing your own demons. We are in a period of transition as a species. No longer are our children protected by the church under these lies they give to protect us. They just keep us veiled. We're veiled in the church. When the veil comes off, you see your own damn demons as a species and as an individual. That's what happens. And people crash and burn. Their paradigms fall apart. So they let us wander around in these little dreams. The American dream. The Savior dream. All of this. Because we are little children here. We're just babes. In the Bible, when it talks about they let babes rule over us, that's what they mean. A man can be in his 70s and be a babe mentally. He's fragmented. He knows not his self. So what do we do? Let's go inward and do your own homework. Pull yourself together. I don't know of any other way to explain it. But you got to stop pointing fingers saying they're doing this or they're doing that. No, we're doing it. We're doing it from a fragmented subconscious mind demiurge that knows not itself. A lot of people are upset because of what's going on in the school systems. What they're teaching our children and what they're not teaching our children. I assure you, what I see going on is exactly what we've asked for. No more lies. Our children are no longer shielded. They're being given the hard, cold truth of it all. And then they go out and act like crazy monkeys in a jungle or something. They have no source. They were given everything but source. They're being shown all the ugly in this world. the demiurge manifest. And we are that demiurge. Are they better off? They say the truth sets you free. They are being given truth. But the same problem with the church. A half-truth is still a lie. Secular education and a spiritual or religious education, you're still just a one-legged man if you're only getting one part. To be a true two-legged man and to walk around, you need both. You need the good and the bad. You need to see the inside and the outside so that you can know thyself and make an honest choice to pull thyself together. When you talk about how to do this, it's done by balance. That's represented by Libra, that serpent on the pole. The balance between the two, between the lower chakras of sexuality and desire and power, to the upper chakras of the voice of truth and the mind of reason. And she sits in the middle. And when you talk about the serpent on the pole, that's the masculine aspect. When you see that serpent, it's hanging there dead on the pole, right? It's circled back around on itself and it's dead on the pole. That's that masculine aspect of Venus. And then you have the feminine aspect of Venus, which is in Taurus. You have one in heaven and one in earth. This is why astrology is so important. Everything is alchemy. Everything is a part of alchemy. But you must have all the pieces of the puzzle. When we want to grab one piece and run with it and say, we have truth. It's flat earth, it's round earth. No, you're both right and you're both wrong. The Bible constantly talks about God talking about the eye, the single eye. We're either looking with the left eye or the right eye. We don't know how to close them both and look with the center eye, because we only have one piece of the knowledge. When you go to school, I cannot stand the fact that they advance students that know nothing. I was forced to do my older sister's homework. By the time she was in the 6th grade, she had to quit because she couldn't even write her name. I see students that would excel in one subject and fail in another. I approve of what is called a pace program. You go at your own pace. Sometimes you'll get one subject and can go all the way with it before you even hit the 5th grade. You know it all the way to a college level. But then another subject, you're failing in it when they are all one. Like I said, the mystery schools were infiltrated and they were divided. Right here in this great country that you think is so great. This country was built on the biggest sacrificial ritual on the planet. I have to say, when the Spaniards went into South America, they did kill a lot of them, but they still have many, many tribes down there. Here, they were slaughtered, they were bred out, their knowledge was destroyed, and they were put on reservations. They're VIPs. They have reservations. You need to understand that. And they've even infiltrated them and tried to destroy and distort this knowledge. But if you understand alchemy and you understand astrology, then you will understand the wholeness and the completeness of it all. Liberty or death. They don't even know what liberty is. Liberty can only come from within. Nobody enslaves you but you. It is up to each of us to do our own homework. I can't do your homework for you. I can give you the tools and point you in the way. The Christ said, I am the truth. I am the way. I am the light. The Christ is that river of living water that pours forth from the pineal gland of the upper chakras, not the lower. The lower chakras deal with the physical world. Our problem is not a physical one. Our problem is a spiritual one. It's just manifesting itself in the physical because of the fragmented mind of the demiurge, the collective subconscious. It knows not itself. Well, it's fixing to. That's what I'm seeing coming in 2020. They're setting us up for it. And they know what we're going to do. They know we're going to react with that reptilian mind, and we're going to manifest exactly enough power to keep them in control another 20 years. That's why all that iconography that goes back for eons, when they're holding up those two fingers, that Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, every time they come together, it's the coming together of the spiritual and the physical, Saturn and Jupiter, and we begin manifesting. This time it's in the house of government, and Pluto is there. So what will we manifest? We're fixing to either manifest the biggest demon on this planet has ever seen, or we're going to manifest a Christ consciousness. One of the two is fixing to manifest, and that depends on you as an individual. Take up your cross and follow me daily. Take up your burdens and go within that third eye daily. When you get up in the morning, it should be the first thing you do. Sacrifice that cup of coffee and get on your knees. And go within. Why do you get on your knees? Because when you go within, if you're standing up, you're going to fall. Then your body gets hurt because you walk out of the body. It needs to be me. When it happened to me, I was prostrate, face down in the dirt. I couldn't fall any further. I was already down. So get down and get quiet. That's what's been hard for me here is quiet. I've tried to move several times. Every time I'm almost at a place financially where I can move, and it's going to take me a roommate to do that. I'm not going to be able to do it by myself. I'm not going to be able to tote having to move, having to pay deposits, and having to turn on utilities. I can't do that by myself. I don't make enough money, and I've even quit my job. I was working at a daycare, and every other day I went. If I'm sniffling, sneezing, whatever, I was sent home. So there's bus fare wasted and half a day, just traveling back and forth for nothing. The money wasn't worth it for the time I was having to sacrifice. So I depend on Thyself, and I depend on doing charts, and I depend on donations for this channel so that I can continue to do these videos. It is my desire to unfragment our subconscious mind, to become aware of we are the ones manifesting this. All these people that you call your masters are doing are simply planting seed. You're the one coming along fertilizing it. You're the ones coming along cultivating it. And you know not what you're growing. Plant your own gardens. You have everything you need within you. You don't need to look or go anywhere, not even to this channel, because you already have the answers. And my gift to humanity is the same I've said before. Remember, if you knew who you were and what you are, you would not do the things you do. Know thyself. Not the left-hand path, not the right-hand path. One of the comments I kind of agreed with. It was kind of going on the line to where I thought, and it's called exposure or disclosure. The world is screaming for disclosure because the disclosure itself is a bad word because it means without closure. Disclosure is without closure. Why do we want that? That's we've been baited there. Why would anybody want no closure without closure? No, we need full exposure. When you talk about the demiurge or manifesting from the subconscious mind, it's all done symbolically. If you want full exposure, then what we would have to do is collectively, one, you visualize yourself naked. Not in a sexual way, but I mean naked, no clothes, hiding nothing. And then you imagine the world naked, having to look at itself. It's done symbolically. That's why we're always given these images. But because we don't know the language, and the language was flipped on us, what we see is evil is good, and what is good is evil. It's been flipped on us. But if you get that balance in the heart, Venus, Lucifer, that bronzed serpent on the pole, then you're able to see both. And then you can pull yourself together. You need to ask yourself, why do I have so much rage against the machine? When, if you realize you are the machine, it's your subconscious mind. That is the evil matrix we all dislike so much, that we think controls us, but we're the power behind it. And it goes from our subconscious mind, and it manifests because of our emotional reactions. That's why you have to control yourself. You're not allowed to feel suicidal, and you're not allowed to feel euphoric. You have to bring those two together and feel almost null and void. Pull yourself back into a third person perspective from that third eye, that mind's eye, and look at yourself. What you hate about the world, you will find within yourself. And why you hate it? Because you understand it not. When a lot of people that hate what's going on, they're coming from a mindset that they think that this life is the end all of be all. When it's nothing, it's just a twinkling of an eye. In this grand scheme, we are here to learn. We're here to pull ourselves apart, dissect it, and put it back together. As a child, I bonded with my father because my mother was a narcissistic tyrant, and I was her scapegoat. So I would cleave to him, and his hobby was racing cars. So I would hang out with him in the mechanic shop, and I became his little helper. First, I had to learn the toolbox and learn the names of all the different tools and where they went in the box. And I would give him the tool, he would use it, give it back to me, I would clean it and put it back where it went. And then I began very curious about how things worked, because as he would take engines apart, he would explain it to me. By the time I was 5 and 6 years old, I was sitting rebuilding Holley 4-barrel carburetors. And he would tell me this part goes here, this part goes there. And I would understand how combustion engines work, and how it needs a coolant system, and it needs an electrical system, and it needs all these other systems to make this thing work. Well, the coolant system's mad at the electrical system. This is what's going on this planet. Our engine's not running because one system is mad at the other when they don't realize they're all one thing. I began taking things apart. I would get in massive trouble because if I could find a screwdriver and take it apart, I wanted to know how it worked. My mother would hated it, but I always had the ability to put it back together. This is what you need to do with yourself. You need to take yourself apart. Stop pointing fingers at the world and start pointing the finger back at yourself. And take yourself apart, find out how you work, then put yourself back together. And we do that on an individual basis, and then we do it as a collective. I completely understand what's going on in the school systems, and I know we are enraged about what's being done to our children. We want to protect them. It is their innocence. This is the hardest thing and the most painful part of all of this, is losing your innocence. Mine was robbed from me as a child. Just abuse, sexual abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse, coming at me from every direction. And I lost what I considered my innocence. It was taken from me, and I resented it. But I look back now and I realize, had that not happened to me, I would have never opened my third eye. I wouldn't know what I know now. I would still be this fragmented, asleep, zombie state individual. A flower growing in around a bunch of weeds. And I would have not known myself. The end justifies the means. This is the mindset of those who are ruling over us. What we think is evil, in the long term, in a few generations, is going to pay off. And we're not going to have children that are divided anymore, that are fragmented anymore. We're starting to see it manifest in the physical. As above, so below. As without, so within. We're starting to see the hermaphroditic, transgender manifest in the physical. The spiritual will follow. It seems like confusion right now, but as a species, in another couple of generations, that's not going to be so. This could all be over right now if we could just move into the age of Aquarius. But the law of equivalent exchange, if we're to get together and manifest the age of Aquarius right now, it must align with the alchemy and the astrology, and to do that would cause this world a great shift on this planet, and you have no idea at the destruction that will follow. The law of equivalent exchange. To get something, you must give something. I'm sorry if I'm coming off so harsh, but you need to hear this. You need to hear it with your eyes. When I speak, close those two eyes, open that third eye, and see what's happening in your mind's eye. What pictures are you manifesting when I speak? Know thyself, not others. We're worried about so-and-so's doing this and so-and-so's doing that. Well, what the hell are you doing but complaining? What does that help the situation? You're fragmented. Pull yourself together. You expect change out of the world, but you don't want to change yourself. You don't want to face your own demons. You don't want to face your own inadequacies, your own limitations. We've always got an excuse. I learned this from my narcissistic mother. Okay? What a blessing she was. I learned this from her. She never took responsibility for anything. Nothing. If anything went wrong, it was Levette's fault. Somehow or another, it would always wind back around to going to the scapegoat. And I realized it wasn't me. This was a failure within her own self, because she didn't want to take responsibility for her actions and her reactions. And I see it in narcissists everywhere. I have a lot of empaths on my channel. You need to hear what I'm telling you. You attract narcissistic people. You think you can help them. You think you can fix them. You think you can balance them when they're feeding off you. And nothing you can do, nothing you can do will ever change that. They can only do it for themselves. When they finally wake up and stand up and say, you know what? I made that choice. It wasn't her fault or his fault. It's my fault. I allowed it. I chose it. I did it. I did it to me. My mother used to run around saying, I didn't want 5 kids. If abortion was legal in my day, you wouldn't be here. We had to pay for our own slavery in my mother's household. If she had her way, she would send us a bill for the hospital where we were born. We owed her that. That's how she looked at it. She didn't have a giving bone in her body. She hated you unless you had cash in your hand. Money was her god. You were nothing. She taught me all of that. I had to see it in another. But you empaths are attracting these narcissists in your life. And because you have a need to heal, so you try to heal in others, it makes you feel good about yourself, that you can fix that person. You feel what they're feeling. You feel their rage. You feel their pain. And if you can make them whole, then it makes you feel whole. I understand. We are overly sensitive, hypersensitive people. We wish everybody could be an empath. You're halfway down the journey there, just being the empath, being aware and feeling those emotions that come off other people. I can stand in a line in a store and I can tell you if the person behind me has a masculine energy or a feminine energy and what chakra they're running from. I can tell you if they're running from the lower chakras or the upper chakras. I can hone in on exactly which one it is. You can look in their buggies and see what they're buying and know more than you could ever imagine. I love going to garage sales and looking at the stuff people's selling. It tells you about the person. Oh, they're ready to let go of this and they're ready to let go of that. This was part of their life and they're releasing it. They're selling it. And then you go to the hoarder who lets go of nothing. It's mine. All of these are related to certain houses of the zodiac. The zodiac is ruled by Saturn, not the sun and the moon. Saturn rules astrology. Saturn rules alchemy. Saturn is about limitations, and they've demonized him to no end. And he's the one thing you need to be grabbing at. He's the one thing you need to look at. When whatever house you have Saturn in, that's your crown chakra. And when Saturn comes back around into that your house that Saturn was in, that's when you're ready. Me, it didn't happen like that. Mine was a forced. I was chasing death, chasing Saturn. 5 years old, and I wanted out of here. I was living with a bunch of zombies who did not know themselves. They didn't know who they were, why they were here, where they were from, or where they were going. They were just walking in circles because we've been given a bunch of dreams. The American dream is a lie. You're still dreaming. This world is one. It's been fragmented into different countries, and different ethnicities, and different everything. And we just want to run. Run. Stop running from it. Run at it. Go look in the mirror, and you'll see it all. Because as the world is fragmented, so are you. So are we. We can't pull the world together till we can pull ourselves together. And then we can manifest heaven on earth. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to pay the price for that? Are you ready to face your own demons to have the ability to do that? Are you willing to take responsibility for your actions, your reactions, and your lack of actions? We're all working backwards. Scarlett Johansson, I believe it was, did a movie. No, it was Natalie Portman did a movie called Annihilation. And in it, it is completely symbolic, and it is about the subconscious mind and how it has been fragmented. Go take a look at it again in a symbolic way. Listen to the words that are said when they go in the lighthouse. The lighthouse is the pineal gland. Go in there. They want to destroy it because they know it not. They understand it not. They're afraid. What you fear is what you should run to, not from. We're doing everything backwards. In the movie Annihilation, she literally manifested her light body that was mimicking everything she did. As it growed, it became to look exactly like her. Now, when I died in the swimming pool, I realized I had manifested my light body, and it looked exactly like my other body. But I didn't care about the other body. It could die and go away. It was just closed to me. But when I was pulled back together and I had to put my light body together with my physical body, I had to merge those two back together. It was difficult to do because I had no sympathy for the physical body until I felt its pain. And I realized that the DNA has a life and a memory and a thought process of its own that is separate from me. When I say me, I'm talking third eye me. I'm aware of my light body. I'm aware of my physical body's needs. But to be able to give to one, again, the law of equivalent exchange. I'm constantly talking about I war with my body. I need to make this video and I can't. My body wants sleep. Today I went to get water and it's so hot outside. I went ahead and made the long trip so I could get Kelly what she needed. And by the time I got back, I was exhausted. I have very little energy. I'm running on nothing. So I laid down to take a nap, and I was tired. Every 30 minutes, I am turning over and rolling over because all these images are going through my mind. And my subconscious is just pouring all of this at me, screaming at me to get up and make this video, to get up and do this. Here are the images. Here are the symbols. Here are the meanings. And it's a world crying out, help me. It's help me by help myself, because no one else can do it for me. When I'm sharing with you, I'm sharing with myself as I understand it, as it is presenting itself to me. I am presenting it to myself, and it comes from the subconscious. I am latching on to my demiurge. I'm latching on to what it needs to be healed, because it's fragmented. It don't understand. It's afraid. It's in the dark, and it is afraid of the light. And it is within us all. So you can stop pointing fingers at everybody else. It's time to take responsibility for your own actions, reactions, and the lack thereof. Your own prejudice. Why do I hate? Why do you love? Why do you love one and hate another, when the same life source is within them all? Why can you eat a carrot, but you can't eat a rabbit? The rabbit eats the carrot. What's the difference? It is the same light source. There's only one source, and everything comes from it. In the Bible, the being speaking as God says, I create good and evil. Because there's only one source. There's only one power source. Electricity is electricity. We can generate it through steam engines. We can generate it through nuclear. We can generate it through hydroelectric. We can generate it through wind power, water power. The power of the forces of the elements of this planet, but it's still all electricity. It's still measured the same way. It's still tapped the same way. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Do you understand? Can you stand under and look up? Can you go within? Can you go within your subconscious mind and ask yourself those hard questions? Why do I hate? Why do I love? We're being pushed to a level of disdain, which forces us to go in the middle, which is exactly where we need to be. But we see it not, and we rage against the machine that we have created, that we are part of. The carburetor hates the alternator. The brake system can't stand the gas pedal. I mean, it's ridiculous. We're getting nowhere. Our machine's not working. It's broke down. And if we want to get anywhere, we're going to have to accept all of the parts. And then we can ride like the wind. But we are one. We are one peoples. We are one world. We are one mind. And we are manifesting this. Not anybody else. Stop pointing fingers. If you have information you feel you need to get out, please find a way to do it that you're giving both sides. Two perspectives, and then find that middle ground. We need middle ground. That's why it's always been the battle for Middle Earth. It's the battle for middle ground. Then the hierarchy on this planet falls, and those on the bottom rank rise up, and we meet in the middle. Because there's no better place to be than stuck in the middle with you. That's why we came here, so we could be stuck in the middle with each other and ourselves. No better place.